Here with John Zulberti, two-time All-American at West Genesee High School, four-time All-American at Syracuse. And so you won 2 state championships in high school. Can you tell us a little bit like what that was like?
Well, coming from West Genesee, one of the top programs, Coach Massera's been coaching for 40 years, and we've lost like 60 games in 40 years. So when you went to West Genesee as a little kid, you grew up knowing that you were going to go to West Genesee and the pressures of having to win a state championship. So every time that you went out and played lacrosse, you always played with older guys to get that experience. My brother was 4 years older. I started out as a goalie all the way through 8th grade until I realized the ball really hurt. But I moved out of that position, and just knowing that I wanted to be, a state champion at West Genesee, one of the greatest programs. So you knew every summer that you worked your butt off so that you would not be a class that didn't win a state championship at West Genesee, because that's kind of what you don't want to have as a legacy at West Genesee, that you didn't win a state championship.
All right, so how was the experience from going to winning 2 high school state championships to winning 2 national championships at Syracuse?
Well, coming out of West Genesee, when Syracuse won their first national championship in 1983, I was a sophomore in high school, and 7 of the 10 players that were on the first national championship team at Syracuse were West Genesee guys. So my dream was to be as good as I could be, hopefully get recruited to Syracuse. And then when I finally went to Syracuse, my first 2 years, we had great teams, some of the best teams I've ever played on. And in the Final Four, we fell short. We lost in the semifinal game, lost in the semifinal game. I don't think I ever worked harder. And I always put in summertime shooting, wall ball shooting, playing at West Genesee box. I know that those 2 years, I knew that I only had 2 years left, and to make the best out of them. And I was lucky enough to win two national championships back to back, along with being a Attackman of the Year both of those years.
So can you tell us about some of the players that you got the opportunity to play with at Syracuse?
Well, I got to play with a lot over a 4-year period. Played with a lot of, when I was at Syracuse, it was a lot of upstate New York guys, Liverpool, Beeville, FM, West Genesee. And then it was filled in with Long Island, not too many Maryland. And to this day, we still don't have too many Maryland that play at Syracuse. But I played with Gary and Paul Gate from Canada, who revolutionized the game, the air gate, the behind the backs, the Canadian style box play of how great stick work is really the necessity to being a great player in lacrosse. And then Tom Marichek came in when I was a senior, was a freshman, another Canadian. He was an attackman. Greg Burns. There's a slew of guys, Todd Curry, Dan Pratt, some of the goalies I played with. Just guys I still play old-time lacrosse with in tournaments, at Syracuse, it's a big family. When we went there, everything we did was about, the tailgates were about the family and everyone's family getting together. So winning a national championship with guys from Canada and all over the country was a great experience, because back then, I don't think many guys, except for our first away game, ever had been on a plane before. I know I'd never been on a plane before I went to my first game at Syracuse, and I'm quite sure a lot of other guys were the same way. So, you grew up as a student athlete by meeting new guys, doing new things and traveling to new places, which made you a worldly guy, as Coach Simmons always was and is. A little bit about the lost trophy. It's lost. It's kind of a question a lot of us get asked. I'd like to say that when they came and they were going to take it away from us for the reasons they did, that it happened to be buried with our first Coach Simmons. So I think it's either in the ground with him or maybe buried somewhere under the dome. But I don't think anyone's ever going to really find out the truth about where that lost trophy is, other than it is part of our national championships 3 in a row at Syracuse.
I saw a trophy in the back of your car. That wouldn't be the same one, would it?
Nope, that was a club trophy. That was a club championship trophy down in Fort Lauderdale with the elder statesman.
Okay. All right, so you're renowned for your famous wall ball routine. Can you tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started like that?
Well, I grew up right next to an elementary school that had, to this day, it's a police station now, still has a chalk mark from back in 1976 that I don't know what kind of chalk it was, but we used to always go down and play off the wall, bring your net down, and I was a goalie at first. So instead of getting shot on by guys that wanted to, rip balls at you that were older, I used to sit there and play off the wall and do all the different little saves that you would do as a goalie off the wall. And then I realized that my brother's always hounding on me to have both hands, so I was like, it's hard to get a friend to go out and play back those days, so just got on a wall and I ran along the wall righty and came back lefty, and I went through all this routine, and then did the behind the backs when I got bored with that, and then catching it behind the back, and then doing around the worlds and catching it, and it wasn't flashy, but it was just a matter of trying to learn how to do all that stuff and not to ever drop the ball, which is the key to playing lacrosse. I mean, everyone can catch a pass that's thrown right in your stick. The key to being a great lacrosse player is being able to catch balls that no one else would catch, or low or away, just having the urgency to never drop a lacrosse ball. So I've always been on the wall and done it for years. I mean, I call it the 12, 13, 14 hands of wall ball, but it all started out that I wanted to have great skills, and I heard from a guy before me at West Jenny, Randy Lumblad. He used to run up to the school and play for hours, so I had a school next to me, so I said, I want to be the next Randy Lumblad, and I followed in his footsteps. He was an attackman at West Jenny and an attackman at Syracuse on the first national championship team, and so he went from the West Jenny high school wall to, I went to the Fairmount School police station wall, and developed our skills as to be the best they could be playing wall ball.
Okay, and then last questions, what advice do you have for kids that are trying to get recruited and play at the highest level?
We're going to see how these younger kids, the votes out there, whether they're going to get recruited at these young ages. Football, my honest opinion is football and baseball have been doing it for years. You wait for that senior year. They all have that signing day when they put that hat on and what college they're going to. It's hard for a kid who's trying to fit in as a ninth grader to a brand new school. He's young and all that. My advice is to be a kid. You're never going to be able to go back and be a kid again. If you do all the things you're supposed to do, work hard, get your stick skills there, be in great shape, do well in school, and just constantly keep doing those over and over again through those ages, you will be a good lacrosse player, you will be a good student athlete, and you will be recruitable. So hopefully that'll help some of these young kids realize that you don't have to make it as an 8th or 7th grader. You need to have fun as a kid, and the recruiting process will happen when you get older.
Okay, sounds good. All right, thank you so much for doing the interview.